The mind of a beholder is a battlefield, a war of logic and fear, of cold calculation and spiraling paranoia. To the outside world, they are creatures of supreme intelligence, each decision meticulously planned, each maneuver part of an intricate game only they can see. But within, the struggle never ceases. Beholders categorize, dissect, suppress, and distort reality itself in an effort to make sense of an existence riddled with threats, both real and imagined. This is the mind of Xanathar, the second to bear that name, or at least it thinks that, the all-seeing, the ruler of the shadows beneath Waterdeep. It remembers the path it has taken to power, the intricate steps that led to dominion. But as its rational mind recounts history with precise recollection, its paranoid mind whispers doubts, twists the past, and fills every shadow with unseen enemies. Between these two forces, the truth struggles to emerge. Xanathar was not always the name whispered in the dark. It began as a mere servant, a follower of the eye-tyrant Xantrif, an enforcer for the Zhentarim. Sent to Waterdeep, hidden within a merchant's caravan, it was to be a tool, a weapon wielded against the lords of Waterdeep in the name of Zhentil Keep. The plan was simple: infiltrate, destabilize, and place the city under Zhentarim influence. But Waterdeep was not as the Zhentarim had described. The city hummed with opportunity, a shifting web of commerce, crime, and influence that existed outside the rigid control of any one power. It was a world in which a being of true intelligence could thrive, not as a tool, but as a master. The rational mind remembers this moment of revelation, the breaking of chains, the casting aside of past loyalties, and the first steps toward carving out an empire in the underworld. As the paranoid part of Xanathar's two minds reaches for control, the vision warps, twisting into suspicion and shadow. It was never so simple. The rational mind insists that it saw an opportunity and took it. But what if it was all orchestrated? What if the Lords of Waterdeep knew from the beginning, steering its every move? What if Xantrif had planned for its defection, ensuring that Xanathar's rise served some unseen greater purpose? The web of power is vast, and unseen hands might have been at work even then, nudging it toward its current role. The rational mind pushes back, asserting the clarity of past events. In the years that followed, Xanathar worked in secret, assembling a network of thieves and mercenaries. The petty criminals of Waterdeep were without structure, divided and weak. Under its leadership, they became something greater. Its organization operated from the shadows, bringing together disparate elements of the city's criminal underworld under one unseen ruler. By 1357 DR, its Thieves' Guild was a power unto itself, controlling smuggling, blackmail, and assassinations across Waterdeep. As the paranoid mind claws forward, doubt creeps in once more. The guild was strong, but was it secure? It had lieutenants, but how many were loyal? How many whispered in the dark, waiting for a moment of weakness? And then, there was the Eye. The Eye had watched. The Eye had waited. The Eye had known. For 10 years, another beholder studied Xanathar's organization, unraveling its secrets. It learned too much, far too much. And it was not alone. There were always enemies, lurking just beyond its sight, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Even the Lords of Waterdeep had not destroyed it, only delayed their inevitable reckoning. Perhaps they had let it thrive, hoping it would grow complacent before they moved against it. The rational mind reasserts itself, recounting facts without fear. But in the end, it was not the Lords who brought about its fall. It was another beholder, one that knew the nature of its prey. The Eye manipulated events from the shadows, tricking another beholder, Uth, into attacking Xanathar in its lair. The battle was fierce, and though Uth fell, The conflict left Xanathar weakened. That was when the eye struck, finishing what Uth had started. The paranoid mind whispers, twisting the memory into something darker. But was it truly the eye's plan alone? Or was it merely a pawn in some greater scheme? The Zhentarim had never forgotten its betrayal. The lords of Waterdeep had never ceased hunting, and even its own underlings had their ambitions. Was this an accident of fate, or a carefully woven web designed to remove a liability from the board? Yet, in the end, it did not matter. The eye took Xanathar's name and its throne, continuing the legend without missing a step. The organization remained intact, its operations unchanged, and in the depths of Waterdeep, the Xanathar lived on. Or so the world believed. The Xanathar rules from the shadows, an unseen eye ever watching, ever calculating. No ruler in Waterdeep's underworld holds as much influence, and yet the danger lies within. Once the Xanathar could indulge in his luxuries, his scented oils, his silken comforts, the taste of fine delicacies. He could recline in his great tank of perfumed water, drifting in the weightless void between thoughts, knowing that all his operations ran smoothly. His guild functioned like a great machine, a network of informants, thieves, and killers working in perfect concert beneath Waterdeep streets. But that balance is shattered now. The Stone of Golor is missing, and it was stolen by treacherous hands, scheming minds, enemies lurking within his very walls. It has to be the Zhentarim, those snake-tongued deceivers. Who else could get so close? Who else could strip him of his security, unravel the perfect order he spent decades building? Who else could plot so precisely, so masterfully? The rational mind seizes control. No, the Zhentarim did not take the stone. It is known. His spies have scoured their ranks. They did not steal it. Yet, then who? The paranoia bubbles back. That is the question, is it not? The question that coils around him like a noose. He held the stone for so long, a thing of power and secrets, a thing whispered about in backrooms and alleyways. But now it is gone, and with it, the one memory that should never have been forgotten. Because the stone did not merely grant knowledge, it took knowledge, and it took something from Xanathar's mind, something vital. The location of his hoarded gold. His rational mind speaks, again, a voice like cold iron. The vault remains untouched. His informants have seen no signs of interference. If the vault remains safe, the knowledge must still be out there. The stone's loss is dangerous, but the gold is still hidden. The paranoia lunges forward, snarling, frothing. How can it be safe if he cannot remember where it is? Someone will find it. Someone will piece together the clues, the trails he failed to cover in his ignorance. The lords of Waterdeep will descend upon it like vultures, and all his power will be stripped away in an instant. He will be hunted, his networks dismantled, his legacy erased. It was not enough to hold the stone. No. He should have kept it locked away, buried it beneath layers of deception. How could he be so foolish as to believe he was ever in control? The rational mind forces back control. A struggle, a grinding of mental gears. He cannot allow this madness to consume him. He must act. There is still time. His lair is secure. It always has been. Deep below Waterdeep, within the twisting tunnels of an ancient Netherese ruin, expanded and fortified by the beholders that came before him. Few even know of its existence. Fewer still have ever set foot within its halls and lived. From here, he operates with impunity, stretching his influence into the city above and into Skullport below. Waterdeep's sewers are his domain. He sees the pathways the city's surface dwellers cannot. He knows the hidden doors, the secret escape routes, the tunnels winding into the depths of Undermountain. His thieves, spies, and assassins move unseen through the darkness, executing his will. He has worked too long, too carefully, to allow all of it to crumble now. And yet, as the paranoid mind lunges again, grasping for control, a thought slithers through the abyss. Sylgar, the fish. Yes, his most loyal companion, his constant, the only creature in all this wretched world that does not lie, does not scheme, does not betray. His beautiful, beloved Sylgar. But why are his minions whispering? Why do they shuffle so anxiously? Why do they avert their gazes, keep to the edges of his vision? What do they know? What are they hiding? The rational mind tries to suppress the thought. Irrelevant. The stone. The gold. These are the real concerns. These are the true matters of power. The paranoia swells, a sickening, spiraling certainty. Something has happened to Sylgar, and he will find out. And he will know who is responsible. And when he does, they will suffer. Xanathar hovered in the stillness of his lair, the faint scraping of Slink's quill the only sound beyond the rhythmic dripping of distant water. His central eye swept across the gathered reports, columns of figures, coded messages, carefully organized details of debts, bribes, and bodies. The system was functioning perfectly. Efficiency, control, order. Freelancers carried out thefts without ever knowing whose hand truly guided them. The lords of Waterdeep still proclaimed their city free of organized crime, while their coin flowed unknowingly into his coffers. The guild, though it was never called such, thrived under his vision. Everything was as it should be, and yet something wasn't right. Something was never right. His eye stalks twitched, scanning the chamber's darkened edges. His paranoia whispered its endless warnings. Complacency is the death of all things. His reach was vast, but even an empire of shadows had cracks. His maw curled slightly at the thought. The rational mind urged patience. If there were a flaw, I would see it. If there were a threat, I would know. Would I? The thought slithered in, unwelcome. His central eye narrowed, pupils contracting. There was no evidence of betrayal, no clear sign that his security had been compromised. But security was only as strong as its weakest link, and links could be broken long before they showed signs of strain. Who is the weakest? He cycled through his lieutenants. Shindia Dark Eyes. The half-drow was cunning, ruthless. She had served well, despite her hatred. He knew she loathed him. Of course she did. She had watched him kill Uth, and she had stayed. Because she was smart. She understood the price of failure, the weight of debt. She would not act against him, unless she already had. His eye stalks curled inward slightly. That was irrational. If she had turned traitor, he would have known. He was certain of it. Unless she was simply better at hiding it than I anticipated. His mouth twisted into a grimace of jagged teeth. She was valuable, and she was being watched. If she so much as breathed against his interests, he would know. He would set a trap, a false opportunity, a fabricated moment of weakness. If she took the bait, she would be dealt with. Yes, order, control. His focus shifted. Slan Thurbal, mercenary, assassin, a useful brute if somewhat too proud of himself. He had no loyalty, only profit. Xanathar had insulted him repeatedly, chipped away at his arrogance, ensured that he knew his place. Slan would not betray him out of principle, but he might out of convenience. The thought sent a ripple through his mind, like a sudden chill in still water. If the price were right, Slan could turn. Mercenaries had no true allegiance. What would happen if someone, perhaps even one of the lords, offered him an amount too great to ignore? Slan preferred the Eyes rule to Xanathar's own. He had been relieved when the previous Xanathar fell. He has what he wants, unless he wants more. Xanathar exhaled slowly. His paranoia gnawed at the edges of reason. His rational mind fought back. Slann was predictable. Predictable threats could be managed. But still, precautions had to be taken. Perhaps Slann needed a reminder of his place. A subtle one. An accident involving one of his men. A near miss. A message. Yes. Keep him obedient. His great eyes swiveled to the ledgers again. Slink Montescore, the bookkeeper, the information broker, a meticulous, careful man. The very fact that he was careful made him dangerous. He thinks before he acts. He plans. What if he had already planned too much? What if, at this very moment, he was the reason something felt off? Xanathar's eye stalks tensed, one curling toward the golden ring wrapped around his fifth stalk. The ring of proof against detection and location. He trusted no magic but his own, no protections save those he could verify himself. But trust was for the foolish. Slink wrote in cipher. He knew too much, but knowledge was only power if one could act upon it. And Slink was not a fool. He would not dare move against his master. Would he? A low growl rumbled in Xanathar's throat, deep and ponderous. He would not let these thoughts consume him. If Slink were a traitor, it would be discovered. A test then. A piece of misinformation slipped into the records, whispered to only one ear. If that information surfaced elsewhere, if it was used, Xanathar would know. And then there would be no need for further concern. His paranoia quieted. Just for a moment, the rational mind was satisfied. The plans were in place. But the unease remained. The central eye swiveled toward the distant walls of the chamber, beyond which lay the sewers of Waterdeep, twisting and curling like veins through the city's underbelly. Xanathar's guild worked in those depths. His network spread unseen beneath the feet of fools who thought themselves rulers. They believe they are safe. They are wrong. But what if they suspected? He had always been careful. Magic could not find him. No one could name him. His lair was hidden, layered with false leads, cloaked in secrecy. If the lords ever suspected the truth, they would tear apart the city's sewers stone by stone to root him out. Xanathar shifts his eyes towards a portal showing a vast cavern where his guild trades with the many denizens of the Underdark. He ponders. Now Skullport? Skullport is real. A city of secrets, of shadows, of trade that matters. Waterdeep plays at commerce with their laws and their ledgers. But Skullport thrives on what the surface dares not speak of. Smugglers, slavers, pirates, sorcerers, they all gather here, hoping to make their fortune, hoping to avoid the eyes of the watch above. Fools, they are seen. I see everything. They whisper in their taverns, strike deals in their alleys, thinking themselves unnoticed, but all of it flows back to me. The coins they touch, the blood they spill, the lives they buy and sell, I take my cut, always. Some think they can operate without my blessing. Oh, how amusing. The gangs, the low fellows, the mandible, they squabble for scraps, but the true power belongs to the one who knows how to pull the strings. And the skulls? Ha! The remnants of old Netherese wizards, turned into floating judges who believe they still rule this place. Yes, they impose their punishments, their random justice. But they cannot see what I see. They cannot control what I control. The true rulers of Skullport do not need to be seen. The surface is weak. Skullport is useful. But the Underdark is where true power is forged. It is not a place for the soft, for the trusting, for those who think laws will protect them. It is a place of darkness, of shifting threats, where only the cunning, the ruthless, and the prepared survive. The drow think themselves the lords of the Underdark, but they are nothing more than venomous insects caught in their own webs. They betray because they must. It is in their blood, their nature. If a drow calls you friend, wait a moment. The knife is coming. And yet, they are useful. Their cities, their magic, their slaves, these things can be taken, turned, made into something useful. The trick is simple. Let them think they are winning. Let them plot. Let them whisper. And when the moment is right, watch them crumble. If I must fight them, I do not fight their blades. I fight their trust, their schemes, their arrogance. Their matron mothers think themselves untouchable. Their assassins believe themselves unseen. But I see them, mind flayers. They think their minds make them invincible. They believe they are the true rulers of the dark. They do not know fear, and that is why they will fall. Because I do. I know fear better than any of them. I have lived in it. I have mastered it, and that makes me stronger. They think they can control others with their thoughts, their whispers, but they cannot control me. Their minds are sharp, but my eye is sharper. Their little tadpoles, their elder brains, their disgusting hives, all weak when faced with the cold, unrelenting power of my gaze. If I must fight them, I do not let them think. I do not let them plan. I do not let them live long enough to react. The moment an illithid believes it has the upper hand, it is already dead. The Duergar, they are useful. They understand business, unlike the drow. They care less for glory and more for wealth. And that is something I can use. Oh, they will lie. They will cheat. But that is their nature. I do not need their loyalty. I only need their desires. Offer them enough, and they will break their own chains. They will sell out their own kin. They will become whatever I need them to be. Xanathar finally ponders other beholders. Other beholders? Ha! They are nothing, pretenders, mutants, twisted reflections of my perfection. They believe they see as I do, but their vision is flawed. They are broken. They are weak. And when I meet one, it does not live. There is only room for one ruler of the depths, one true beholder who understands power, control, dominion. And that is me. Xanathar's existence is a study in extremes, ruthless control and unyielding paranoia. What we can learn from him is not simply about power, but about how to use it and how to protect it. Xanathar's constant vigilance is both a strength and a weakness, a reflection of how power can corrupt the mind, pushing even the most brilliant intellect to the edge of madness. Xanathar's greatest challenge lies in his inability to trust others. He is so consumed with the idea that someone, somewhere, is plotting against him that it becomes difficult for him to see things clearly. This lack of trust makes him more isolated, and while he may have control, he lacks meaningful relationships or alliances. Trust is a delicate balance. Too little, and you alienate those who might help you. Too much, and you risk being betrayed. From Xanathar, we learn that we must be cautious in whom we place our trust, but we must also understand that not every shadow is a conspiracy. Not every whispered word is treason. Thank you for watching the video. We have more videos planned, so like and subscribe to make sure you watch those when they release. Thanks to our members, DJ, Alberto, John, Zeno, Fire, Shane, Stephen, and Forrest, who have signed up to our memberships. If you would like to support the channel further, take a look at the links for Patreon and our membership on YouTube. See you all on the next video.